My name is Chef Beebe. I'm the culinary instructor at the Cooper's Education Center, GST BOCES. This afternoon I'm going to demonstrate how to make a single pie crust that we're going to be using for another demonstration, for a pumpkin pie demonstration. So what you're going to need in some of the utensils for your mise en place is 1 1/4 cup of flour, half a teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of white sugar, some ice water at hand, a tablespoon, a fork, some flour for dusting, and of course a half cup of cubed butter, chilled, ice cold, as in from the freezer. So what I'm going to do is put our flour in there, mix our dry ingredients, flour, salt, sugar. Okay. I'm going to set this aside here, give us some room to work. Now what I'm going to do is add my cubed frozen butter. I'm going to cut in what they call cut in my shortening, or cut in my butter. And I'm going to do that by starting to coat my flour as I go along. And I'm going to kind of pinch the shortening forward, as if I'm shuffling pennies, as I like to call it. And what we're going to do is turn this mixture in like a mealy substance. We don't want the shortening any bigger than, much bigger than a pea. I don't know if you can get a shot on this. Come right, look right down here in the bowl. Thank you. That's good. So that's what I'm doing. Shuffling forward, getting those bigger chunks into smaller, mealy type pieces. Whoop, little spillage there. We'll need that flour for dusting later. Just breaking up some of those bigger pieces. You can do pie crust several different ways. You can do it in a blender. You can do it in a Robocoup, a food processor. I like to do it the old-fashioned way, the way I was taught, and that's with my hands. And we're getting there. Every time I pinch the butter, I pull it back, cover it, recover it with flour, so that we can keep the separation between the fat and the flour and hopefully have a nice flaky crust. And that's what we want to strive for. And as you can see in there, we've got a mealy type consistency. So now what I'm going to do is add 3 to 4 tablespoons of ice water. You don't want any ice in there, just the water itself. And we wanted the water as cold as possible to keep that shortening from getting too soft. Now, the amount of water fluctuates depending on the absorption rate of the flour and the humidity in the air, how much moisture is actually in the flour. So I add my water a little at a time, and I just sort of keep coating everything and tossing it until I get almost walnut size pieces, chunks of flour. I can still see it's a little crumbly yet, so I'm still not ready to roll that out, otherwise we'll have a crumbly crust. A little bit more yet, and we're almost there, guys. Okay. We want to be able to just clump this together, and it should just stick together. We're going to flour our surface. And what we're looking for, I'd like to shape a hockey puck out of our pie dough. Pie roller, a little dusting flour, and we're going to do start from the center and work our way out, and we're going to do quarter turns. The purpose of a quarter turn is to make sure our pie crust stays circular. We want to roll it out to an 1/8 inch thick. And we have our pie tin here. We want to make sure we're at least 2 inches around, and we're there. So what we're going to do is pick up our pie crust. This is what we use our offset spatula for. The first thing I want to do is sort of work my way underneath the pie crust. You don't want to pull it too much to avoid some shrinkage in the oven. Stretch out the pie crust. Fold it in half, and we're going to fold it in half again so it's a quarter. And you notice we have a point here. We want to take that point, put it right center of the pie tin. And then just unfold it. Don't stretch the pie dough, just lift it up and tuck it in. This pie crust is about the right size for fluting this. We're going to use this pie crust for a pumpkin pie. Pause it. Hold on a second. The next thing that I'm going to do is take this extra dough and I'm going to tuck it underneath itself all the way around the pie shell. And that's going to give us enough pie dough to work with to give it a fluted edge. And a fluted edge will make it look nice and pretty and professional. Just going to top off a little of that extra there. Okay, take my fingers, my forefinger and my thumb on the inside, go all the way around, and use the index finger on the outside to give it that nice fluted look. Nice fluted pie shell. And when we come back, we'll show you how to make a pumpkin pie from this pie shell. We're back. Now, what to do with that pie crust that we made earlier? Beautiful pie crust, fluted edge and everything. We're going to make a pumpkin pie with it. What you're going to need, 3 eggs, 15 ounces of canned pumpkin, heavy whipping cream, brown sugar, ginger, nutmeg, cinnamon, and a little bit of salt. So what we're going to do is mix these ingredients together. We're going to take the pumpkin, mix them in with the heavy whipping cream, add the eggs, brown sugar, ginger, nutmeg, don't forget Mary Ann for us old timers, salt, and a little bit of cinnamon. Set these aside. No. And we're going to get these whisked in. I like to stir it really well, make sure that brown sugar is nice and distributed, not clumped together. Once you have it nice and smooth and well incorporated, we're going to take our pie crust and set it on a baking sheet that's been lined with parchment paper. And we have that for spillage. We don't want to spill. If it spills in the oven or overflows or for any reason, it'll spill out on the parchment paper. And we're going to pour this right in the center of the pie shell. Scrape all of that out of there. We get a little messy there. That's not typically what happens. Put this in the oven for 45 to 55 minutes at 375 degrees.